Recording in progress.
All right, so thank you again, everybody, for coming this evening. Sorry about that little slow start at the beginning. As I said, I want to take the time to acknowledge the land that we are on. So we are on the territories of the Musqueam, the Squamish, the Tsleil-Waututh, the Kwantlen, the the Katzie, Coquitlam, Tawasin people, but also because we do have one of our guest speakers this evening, Hasty, is joining us from the Kitchener area. I do want to take the time to acknowledge that he is also on the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and the Neutral Territories. As we get started this evening, I just want everybody who is joining to know, again, that I am recording this session. So if you don't want your face to be seen, please make sure that you turn your camera off. As well, as we get into the conversation tonight, we're going to start off with some questions that I have for the panel. I imagine that this is going to take us about an hour to get through, and then I do want to answer the questions of the guests that are the audience that is here, because I know as engineers in different stages of the P-Eng or EIT process, I'm sure that you have a lot of questions. So please make sure that you get those questions into the chat. I'm going to be watching the chat this evening, and I will make sure that we can get to as many questions as possible. If there's any repetitions, obviously, I'm going to just ask it one time. Because this is going to be recorded, I will share this with everybody who registered, and then also for those that couldn't make it this evening. So you will have another opportunity to hear the great pieces of advice that our four guest speakers have to offer us. Just to make it clear as well, though, I do want to talk about the ISSofBC process. I know that it is very important, and I know that many people have many questions, but I also want to ask some other questions that get us a little bit away from just asking about the registration process, the competencies, that kind of thing, because I know that these three gentlemen here have some excellent advice. They all are newcomers. They have all walked the path of becoming a professional engineer or an engineer in training, and they have all found a job in their desired profession. So I think that outside of the ISSofBC experience, they have a lot of other things that they can offer us. And so I want to make sure that we are able to hit that. Now, with that being said, where I would like to start is just for having the three guests this evening just to introduce themselves. And if you could just tell me a little bit, or tell us, I should say, we're not alone here, a little bit about, who you are, what your designation is, what your focus is in engineering, and even just a little bit about, your experience of coming from your home country, coming into Canada, and getting into the job market. I don't know who wants to go first. Do you want me to pick, or does somebody want to put their hand up? Oh, don't all throw your hand up at once. Okay. Oh, Nikhil, I see you unmiked first. I think you get to go first.
Oh, hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. Before I introduce myself, are there any mechanical engineers in this forum, or?
I believe we do have some mechanical engineers. If mechanical engineers, you want to put your hands up or mention in the chat that you are?
Yes, I am here, mechanical engineer.
We got mechanical
nice to meet
engineers in
you.
the house. Okay, perfect.
I just don't want to bore the
Can you hear me?
audience with any mechanical jargons.
I'm also from mechanical engineering background.
Oh, good. We got at
Hi,
least
nice
two.
to meet you. Yeah.
Electromechanical engineer.
Oh, okay. So I have company.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect.
Mechatronics engineer.
Okay. So my name is
Perfect.
mechanical. Okay. I hear the word mechanical, so that gives some confidence. So I'm Nikhil Sadishan, professional engineer registered with ISSofBC. I'm a mechanical engineer with about 15 years of experience in boilers, pressure vessels, piping, all those manufacturing components. I moved to Vancouver in 2020 from India. Initially, as an engineer, I was in the same process of job hunting as well as getting my P-Eng registration. I worked as an afternoon shift quality inspector, as well as an Amazon associate for about three months. And then parallelly, I was working on my P-Eng registration, and now I have secured a job as a senior designer and quality lead at Infro Heat Industries Limited. I've been with them for almost 2 years now. Regarding my family, I have two beautiful daughters and a beautiful wife. She is an electronics and communication engineer,
Oh,
doctorate holder, and she is working with ANSYS Canada.
okay, that's
We
great.
had our fair share of struggles initially, so we are now in the path of working in our desired career.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Nikhil. Hasti, it
Thank
looked
you.
like you were ready to go next. I'll let you take it away.
Hi, everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Hasti, and I have a PN's designation from ISSofBC. I'm a Kurdish background. I came from Iraq. I had both my bachelor's and undergrad and master's in Iraq. So, I starting after probably 8 years, I came to Canada straight to Vancouver. I started there starting from scratch. I didn't know anything about the association, engineering. I started right away as a designer. After a while, when I figured out, oh, there's association, and I didn't have any friends to start with, so you have to go there, start from there. So I have a kind of top situations. Nobody knows, like I didn't know what to do. So I go through try and errors. Probably it was a hard situation. I believe after 4 years, I got my designation, and as you know, requires a lot of effort in passing a national professional exam and stuff like that. I was working in different fields of, my background is civil engineering. I worked in many civil, transportations, water resources, environmentals, you name it. I was a part of the co-founders with one of the geospatial company. We started that. After a while, I love to back to academic because I got a funding. I got one of the scholarship from the University of Waterloo. With the same times as my wife, and she's also the graduate student. We're both studying me for PhD and into the transportation in the civil engineering department in University of Waterloo. And my wife, she's have the electrical background, studying in the system design as a graduate student. So here we are.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that's great. And it looks like engineers marry engineers. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
All right, Yusuf,
Yeah.
you're next.
Hi, Liz. Thank you so much for inviting me today to this panel discussion and having this opportunity today to discuss with all these people and maybe share my experience. So my name is Youssef. I'm from Morocco. I came to Canada 2 years ago, and I started working 1 year ago as an electrical engineer for Green Light Innovation as an electrical engineer, electrical designer. So I came here without knowing exactly about what's ISSofBC, and hopefully thanks to ISSofBC, I learned a lot about the process, and they helped me also to get the job where I'm today.
Okay, that's great. So one of the things that I've heard, at least from Nikhil and from Hasti, are these trial and error struggles, and Yusuf, you saying, I don't know anything about the EGBC process. For you guys coming into Canada and having to kind of figure this out, I guess one of the questions I have for you is, what do you wish you knew then that you know now? Tough question.
I can answer that.
Yeah, sure.
So the first thing I think is basically, as everyone says, the importance of networking, as well as creating a brand for yourself and the confidence in you. There are going to be struggles, but the main thing is that these things will go away and there is a good time. So the belief as well as the confidence.
The belief.
So
Okay, that
when I came to Canada, as I said, I was working in a good position back in India as well. So I had to start from zero. There were like nobody to guide or like, to offer a helping hand. But I have met with people. I have my share of connections. I reached out to ISSofBC. I was actually planning to see Shauna in this meeting. She was my employee specialist. So together, we have broken down job descriptions, created resumes, tailor-made resumes, and applied for various positions. Sorry.
Mhm.
So the one thing which I didn't know that there is absolutely there is a need to create connections. If so, I would have started earlier and then made a personal brand and landed in Vancouver with confidence. So yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. I'll let Shauna know that you said hi. Unfortunately, she
Yeah,
couldn't
sure.
make- I know ever since we've met now, we're connected and you never get to see Shauna, but I will definitely let her know that you say hi,
Yes.
Nikhil.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Somebody else on the panel want to take that question?
Yes, but I might forget half of it. Can you just repeat it? I
Yeah,
can
of course.
go
What do you wish, with all of like the trials and error and all of the problems that you probably faced coming here, what do you wish you knew back then that you know now?
Before I came, actually, my plan was US, and basically I have all the plans and figure out like this is my plan for United States. I had the job there, but unfortunately when I came the time there was a lot of issue, and I secured jobs to come into Canada and to straight to Vancouver. But after a while, it wasn't good enough. So it wasn't in engineering because it was the Trump time when I came to Vancouver, and there was like a lot of system changing. Yeah, I have to start from scratch. I didn't know my plan when I came to Canada. So basically, I applied for jobs. Like I was doing different types of any hard work jobs. I started with applying the jobs and doing the try errors. Oh, my resume with every jobs I was applying, and believe it or not, I believe I applied more than 250 jobs in 6
Oh, I
months.
believe it.
And
Yeah.
I haven't got any engineering jobs. It was like different jobs where I get it. But the first jobs, it was my first interview, and I got the jobs. And so started with the designers. After a while, I didn't know anything about the engineer geoscience, engineer geoscience British Columbia. Because my community is small, I didn't know anybody else in that field in engineering. So I asked my colleagues. So I have a lot of experience when I work in. There was like some like UBC or SFU graduate. They were like supervising my work, and I have more experience than them. And I asked them why is different? Why you just become engineers? Say, oh, the things is I knew it here that the university didn't provide you the titles of engineers. You should get it from the association. Or the association give you either you are engineer or not. So the university is not like that. And then I started applying for like EGBC like that, and it took me a while to understand all the process. At my time, there was really hard to have a Canadian experience. I have a lot of experience back then, but this is a requirement to have at least 1 year's experience, and they didn't even give you this experience because they don't know you and you don't know how to involve them. And I was like applying straight to PH. Probably this take a long time, but this is just without planning to came to Canada. This is my whole issue.
Interesting, really interesting. Yeah, it's interesting about the universities too. I've spoken with quite a few people who have decided to go and do a master's through, say, something like UBC, because they do come out and it's much easier for them to find jobs. But I'm sure that was a bit of a culture shock for you, for sure.
Yeah,
Yusuf, what about you in terms of coming in? Did you have your EIT before you came here, or did you apply for it once you landed?
No, honestly, because my experience back in my country, I worked as a field engineer, kind of project manager, construction manager. Is a little bit different from what we have here in Canada. Here, like the organization is different. Like you have the construction is a different field from engineering. It's not mixed. And in my country and even other country where I lived, like France, there is no difference. Like most of engineers, they can work in the field, and it's something like really different here. So when I arrived here in Canada, honestly, I was looking for something like what I did before, but I cannot find. I found like something in the construction, but they tell me you're not a construction manager, you're an engineer. And when I want to go to the engineering, they say you don't have experience in the design, you're not an engineer. So I say who I am. That's something that's happened to a lot of people. But after that, I think it's what helped me to start to understand what I want to do. And I said, okay, I want to go in the engineering direction. So I started defining my goals from that point. And I think that something I wish I knew before coming here is that the recruitment is not based only on the technical side. I mean, they don't focus only on how proficient you are, like on a software or something like that. I can tell you from my experience that at least at 70%, they're gonna hire you because of your attitude, your behavior, and your soft skills. And it's exactly what happened to me. Like, for example, if we talk about behavioral, like, for example, question, for me, it's something more important than to talk about like how proficient you are in a software. And if I knew that, maybe I would started preparing that before arriving here.
Oh, that's such an excellent point, Yusuf. And I think something that I mean, in my role as an employer relations specialist, I work quite closely with clients to help them improve their interview skills. But I think that that is something that really happens to a lot of clients. I think in lots of other places in the world, they focus on the technical skills. They look at your university, they look at your work experience, and they look at, you know, what technically can you do. In Canada, it's a totally different market where we really want to know, how are you going to fit into the workplace? Are you going to be able to communicate with the staff? Are you going to get along with the staff? Are you going to be a team player? And then in terms of the soft skills, that kind of thing as well. And that's why we ask the behavioral questions. And if you don't know how to answer them, and this is for everybody on the call, if you haven't started practicing behavioral questions yet, get on it, because they take some time. They take some time to think about the situations and to really structure them to make sure that you're giving good answers. And it really changes how you perform in an interview, and then whether or not you're going to move forward in the job. I mean, Hasti, lucky you to go for one interview, you know, as a designer and get the job. But unfortunately, that doesn't really happen to too many people. Unfortunately, they go through quite a few interviews before they get the opportunity to start working.
Really?
Okay. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
You had a valid point. Like I have seen situations where, like, once after you have you've been hired, then also the employee couldn't continue because of lack of communication skills. So
Totally.
so the other team members feel that, you know, there is some gelling hasn't happened, and ultimately, you know, there is some discomfort. So it's an ongoing process, like, you know, effective communication and mingling with the team members. So communication is one of the crucial aspects which we need to, like, even now I'm practicing.
Okay, so that was, you're going to lead into my next question for you, is for all of you, you know, once you started into the workplace, what were some of the challenges that you faced? What were some of the differences that you noticed, and things that you had to work on, most likely outside of working hours, to make sure that you were performing well, but also fitting in well? Go for it, Nikhil, if you want to go. And
Okay,
then
okay, I was just waiting.
No,
Yeah,
that's okay.
so the first thing is actually there were a lot of challenges. I'm being very frank with you. Like there are a lot of many big challenges. First thing is that most of us come with a different background, and mostly you may not end up with a job which you have worked previously. Maybe there is like a 30%, 40% overlap, but that too if you are lucky. So the first thing is that for me, I was working in India, so the unit systems from the basic is like, you know, the unit systems we follow in India are SI, whereas in here it is foot, pound, inch. So that itself started the struggle initially. Second thing is, I have noticed this in Canada, like even though you are a junior most employee, or like, the newest addition to the team, the employers believe a lot in you and they have like good confidence on you. So that essentially means, you will be assigned some task with very less supervision and you are expected to perform. So that is an additional burden. Like, you will have to go through the company records to see past projects and understand how things have been developed initially. Of course, there are persons to help you, but everybody is working on the team and have like, numerous work going on. So as a team, as a newest member, it's upon us to put that extra effort and understand the things that have been like done in the past. So that is one thing I learned, like, there may not be like a person who is like checking and signing off your every part of your work. So you need to take that extra effort and start contributing, start learning stuff. Maybe you may have to, there is maybe a new standard which you have never heard in your life, but you are going to read it after hours to understand that.
Okay, that's awesome. Yusuf, go for it.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil, for mentioning effort. I think it was the same thing for me. I would say like I got like opportunity to work as an engineer after like trying for 1 year, honestly looking for a job for 1 year, and of course, when we get this opportunity, we don't want to lose it. We have a probation period, so we need to succeed. So we have to do everything possible to meet the requirement. But the problem is that we don't know really what's the requirement. We are new. We never worked in Canada, so we need to meet something we don't know, and we have to be even more performance sorry than local people. I would say, if I can say it that way. So I mean, like for me, for example, the challenge was in two sides. From a technical side, as electrical engineer here in Canada, they follow North American standard. So you don't know those standards. There is no one coming from outside Canada that can say he knows those standards. And I can give an advice regarding that. If you have an interview, don't say that you know. Like for example, a Canadian electrical code, they're not gonna take you because they know you don't know it. Even Canadian, they don't know it. So it's just impossible. So knowing the local standards and adapting to that, which mean a big effort. And to be honest, it means for me like working day and night and weekends just to meet this requirement to catch the others that already working here and to because knowing the international standard doesn't mean that you know those one local here. And this is like a technical challenge. From another aspect, I would say that we are joining like a company which is all the companies I think they are multicultural. You have people from India, Iran, all over the world, and I don't think there is a place in the world where you can find this diversity. And this is a big challenge because you have to adapt to all those kind of people. And even today, I can tell you sometimes it's not easy. It's like you are a person and you have to be the different person in the same day to be able to talk to all those people. I think I'm sure for Liz, for example, she's adapted to that. She did that all her life here. But for us, I don't think it's something normal. Maybe I have like more facility to talk to some kind of people than other, like some people from I don't know from Europe than other from India or anything else. So this is it was a big challenge too. But if I can give an advice regarding that, is just you have to be persistent and resilient, and it's gonna be okay, I think.
That's a really interesting point, Yusuf, because you do forget. I mean, exactly like you say about Canada, I'm used to living in a totally multicultural place. But for many people where you don't tend to have that diversity, getting into a workplace where you got to learn how to communicate with so many different people, and also English English can be a second or a third or a fourth language for many people. And so trying to communicate on that level can be challenging. Hasti, what about yourself?
Yeah, so the things that I probably when I interviewed I had like a test they were doing it because like mine was design and I was good with the software when I came here. So they test me and I was passed the exam the test. So I didn't have any like issue at the technical part of it, but the main issue is soft skills. I didn't have any things. When I started there, like I came from different cultures and I didn't know like how to communicate with them. Oh, okay, just not soft skill, just not sending email or just like saying hi to someone, just like how to communicate, how to be friends, how to share like jokes or something like this is interactive with your colleagues. I didn't know any of these actually, like sometimes because like English as a second language, sometimes you kind of afraid, oh, did I make something it will be offensive to someone else because everybody is different backgrounds. I wasn't a shy person, but when I came here, I somehow I changed to the shy person. And somehow when I started the jobs, like my country, when they give you a position or they give you the task, you have to figure out by yourself. And then you came to the person, oh, this is what I do. But I did the same thing here. And after a while, the supervisors, the engineers came to me, oh, why don't you come to me and ask about these kind of questions? And I say, oh, I have to challenge myself. No, you don't have to challenge yourself. This is the team task. So engineers, you have to do it as a team. So you have to ask others. You have to come to me. Oh, this is what I did, and what's next? Something like this. So it was like different shocks in just in cultures, like in professional cultures, not in just like oh, Canadian, or this person or that. No. So basically, like the soft skill is the main part of it, not this technical. And you're probably all of you afraid, oh, I don't know how to do the jobs. Actually, it's just I saw many people that they have more high technical backgrounds and they've been laid off because of their soft skills. They didn't have like how to communicate and how to get like how to like, let's say, how to talk to your colleagues, how to go like your boss or whatever. So it's important to know. And the second thing is what I understand is like whatever happen in your jobs is it's about of your jobs, whatever, like wherever you like your boss get angry or something like that. I was getting offensive when somebody say, oh, your job is not good and something like that. It's just about that. So I was like, when I see my colleagues, they were swearing each other about the job, they getting angry. And after a while, like after jobs, when the job is done, like at the end of the day, they were going for a coffee or the beer or something. I see, you guys just fighting, like you just have like you are guys getting angry each other's. How did this happen? Oh, this is about the job. This is different. So yeah, I just understand this kind of stuff by time in here. So the main issue was the soft skills.
Oh, but that's really interesting. Another thing that I have heard a lot, obviously I think I'm a bit oblivious to it because I'm Canadian, but is we're quite passive aggressive in our feedback as Canadians, as managers, as teammates, whatever. So oftentimes we don't like confrontation. So we might say, yeah, it's pretty good. Sure, yeah, it's good. But we don't really mean that. What we mean is like, maybe you need to improve it. So one of the things that I work on with clients often is how to ask for feedback and not being shy to ask for feedback or not being shy to ask questions. I think another thing that I find a cultural difference is in a lot of other places, it's keep your head down and just get your work done. And if you don't know how to do it, just shut up and try and get it done. Whereas here, we much prefer that you would ask a question to learn how it's done and then proceed on correctly. Would you guys all agree with that? At least in your experience so far?
Yeah, so basically I just want to add something else, like
Sure.
some word I just figure out in the professional part of my journey. Like when I say something like I don't know, or I haven't seen this, or like I was using some word that like sometimes my boss was getting angry about it. I would say if you want to like don't know something, just don't say like I don't know or I haven't seen this. You can just come to it like I'll say I want to double check this is like that or not, or I just want to double check is this event at the same time or this. Like actually I didn't use it like this kind of word before, and it was just like my English was straightforward. Like I didn't know how to like use the same word and not to be offensive or not to make myself like
Get people angry.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, Nikhil, did you want to add on something?
Um,
Oh, I
no,
just saw
I've
you were unmiked. You unmuted yourself, so I thought you wanted to add on. But if you don't want to, don't worry about it.
no, nothing to add on. I think
Okay.
Hesti had a good point.
Okay, great. So now what I do, I want to turn the conversation a little bit to your job search strategies. So Hasti, you let us know that you found a designer role without having any kind of certification from EGBC. Yusuf, you looked for work for a year. Hasti, you applied for 250 jobs. Nikhil, I think I remember you saying you applied for quite a few jobs as well. Could you tell us a little bit about what your job search strategy was like, and what do you think helped you end up being successful? Uh-oh, I've got dead air.
I can go ahead. I mean, like searching for a job is it's not just about like opening Indeed and starting, or LinkedIn and starting applying to all the jobs. It's different. I mean, if you are searching for a job, you have to be efficient in your job search. And I mean, you have also to be ready for this interview that may come. Doesn't make any sense. For example, you are applying for a job, you got interviews, and because you are not prepared for behavioral question, every time you fail, so you're just like wasting your time and making a lot of efforts, and this gonna just frustrate you. I mean, for me, I said I looked for a job for a year, but I looked for a job efficiently for 3 months. And it's during these 3 months where I start really working on my attitude, working on my soft skills, and analyzing everything. I started from using a job tracker, which means just a spreadsheet, putting all my application and recording everything. And starting from that, noting everything. Like I applied to this kind of job, no one contacted me, so it doesn't make any sense to continue applying a lot on that. I went to or for example, I'm applying for this kind of job, and I had 2 interviews, so it makes sense to go in this direction. So you have like some kind of indication and data that you can collect from your application, your job search. And I think also that this part of preparing for the interview, it's really important, and what's gonna help you to get this job, because you cannot say that, for example, you're applying for a job and they contact you on Thursday and you go on Friday to the interview. For me, it's impossible, like, because if you are doing it this way, there's another person that prepared for 10 days for this interview. So basically you have no chance for that. So when I started understanding that, I think that's what helped me to get the job I had.
Okay, awesome. Anybody want to add in?
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay, Hesti, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, when I applied the job at the beginning, I was just applying with the same resume for everything, and this is where I understand, like when you are desperate into finding work, like usually this kind of engineering is not maybe is not for the work when you came here. Like find the jobs to start in some just living and just focusing your target as for the engineering or like with your science, whatever you are, your background is. So engineering should be like more specific, as Yusuf has mentioned. It should be like, what's your target, and to focus on this. But the main thing is like the jobs out there. So this is what I read on the internet. I don't know how accurate it is. Like 80% of jobs in Canada is hidden. Like it's about relation and connections you get. Try to like, it's not about just applying jobs. Try to get more connection, try to go to the events, and probably you can get better jobs than just applying on the website. So for myself, I just figure out in the process jobs just getting by like knowing person. It's not just applying. And sometimes I came to the position and just like nobody's answering me. What was the issue? Until I just hired by the companies, and when I talk to them, what's the issue? Why don't you hire these people? They have the good technical background. Oh, you see, the first thing they put the like there's a grammatical error in there's like what's in below their name, like they put the engineers just a word like this. So we don't review the whole resume. So basically, they just look at for like 8 seconds all your resume. If it should be perfect, it should be bolded. Word when they are applying for these jobs. They don't decide, or they don't take 1 day just to look at your resume. And basically, another things I just understood is when you apply for jobs, learn about that companies and what they do, what their services is. And to like you have to know all the ideas, where they are working on. When you apply, and just try to find the people that's working in that company, use LinkedIn for them, and just figure out, oh, I have the interview, can you give me some feedback or like a recommendation? What should I do? What should I bring to the interview? So try to find a way to connect with these people already in that company, and just not apply the jobs directly. So this is, I figure out on the way it is.
Okay, awesome. Nikhil, anything you want to add in?
Yeah, my job search strategy was a little bit different, because when I came in October 2020, it was peak COVID and many of the things were closed down. So I came with a family with small kids, and they couldn't attend school because they were like too young to, attend school. And my wife got a job in the morning shift. So quickly I realized that the jobs which I'm looking for would or mostly require PNG connection. So what I did was I applied for many jobs in Indeed. I was looking for a particular night shift job so that I can work on something related to my experience in like engineering or quality field, as well as I could spend the mornings, for networking, as well as getting my certifications and PNG. So that's the strategy I went for. Initially, I worked for almost 9 months in the night shift job. Parallelly, every morning I used to I connected with ISSofBC. Shona was my employment specialist, so we used to apply like every week. We used to connect, and we used to she would ask me whether I found any jobs that are of interest. So I would say, yeah, there is this job. Then we had the job tracker going on, and then we would customize my resume to suit for that. Yeah, so parallelly in these 9 months, so at that time, because of COVID, academic institutions were not in a position to send transcripts over. There were a lot of issues, but that's what I did. Like, though I worked in night shifts on a basic job, I worked on my Canadian competencies. Especially, I completed the academic requirements of my PNG, and I started working on the competencies parallelly. And again, side by side, I was looking for opportunities that would fit my engineering profile, and connected with my colleagues, and started networking basically.
Okay, so you bring up a really good point here. And I came across a video yesterday that I've been telling my clients about today. It was talking about networking and the current job market that we're in. And Nikhil, you keep talking about networking, and I do want to hit on that a little bit, because for engineers, I can't stress how important it is to network for more reasons than just getting to know more people in your profession. It's going to help you with your competencies. You're going to be able to find people that can give you guidance. You might find validators, all this kind of stuff. But the video that I watched yesterday was from a hiring manager talking about the difference in the job market in the last couple of years. So 2 years ago, you could open a job posting and maybe you would get 80 applications. Today, they're opening job postings and within 24 hours, you're getting 400 to 500 applications. So you can imagine for all of you job seekers on the call, what the competition is like. And this is where networking really comes into play, because the more people you know, the more people that can potentially refer your application or give you a line on jobs that are happening. So for all of you on the call, this is one thing I'd really like to hear about. What were your networking strategies? You're coming here, you don't know anybody, you don't know the system, you don't know how it works. How did you start to build up your professional network?
Yeah, I can answer that. So
Sure.
the first thing is like, the first thing you should do is to maintain your LinkedIn profile up to date, especially the experiences, work experiences, work history, recommendations, etc. And for me, what happened was I got introduced to a person through one of these meetings, like ISSofBC, I guess. So we connected. He was working on a mechanical engineer role, so I sent him a request, and then we got connected and started chatting up. And then he recommended me that there are some recruitment companies like Act Talent. I don't know whether you guys know that. There's a firm called as Act Talent. So they usually hire mechanical engineers for other companies. So they are basically a recruitment agency. So he suggested that I should connect with a recruiter working at Act Talent. So I sent him a request. I don't think he accepted my request as usual, but I sent him a request. But what would happen at this point is the person who gets a request quickly glances through your LinkedIn profile to understand if our profile is suited for the roles he has in his list. Like he may have like a certain job listings going on. So he will quickly see if it matches the profile he is looking for. In that case, of course, they'll connect and, we'll have a call or maybe a quick chat. Then they'll ask you to send the updated resume. If not, you can follow his profile and he may be like posting jobs often, or maybe he has some connections whose notifications he will be sharing as well. So it was basically targeted networking, like people who work in this area, who are their connections, who are the recruiters in their connections, and basically follow their postings quite often. Yeah.
Okay, great. And
yeah.
Hasti or Yusuf, do you want to add in there at all?
Yes, I would say the same thing as Nikhil said. Like in my case, like for the job where I'm working right now, I had a first interview with the human resources, and I had a second panel interview. And in this second panel interview, I think there were like 7 or 8 persons there, and one of them was a senior engineer, and one was one of my LinkedIn contacts. I don't know him. I just sent him a message, and I knew after I was hired that he liked my attitude, like that I contacted him just because I want to learn from his experience. So I think networking in all cases is good. It doesn't mean that you don't know this person directly, that you cannot connect with him in LinkedIn and ask him a question, any kind of question. And he, like for example, I'm accepting all the invitation I receive from anyone, like in LinkedIn, because I know that it may help the other person. And I'm sure the recruiters, when they want to hire someone, they want to his LinkedIn profile and they see if there is a connection with someone in the company, and I think it's important.
Absolutely, absolutely. Hasti, do you want to add anything in there?
Yeah, so basically the LinkedIn is really good to start with, but usually like sometimes you want to, when you're changing your resume, try to, if you put the LinkedIn profile link on your resume, somehow it should be like a constant, like it cannot be constant, like it cannot be the date and timeline of your experience should be the same as your resume. Sometimes I didn't know that. I figure out like when someone is interested in you, they checked you as your background. One more thing, I believe like everything about the soft skills, like try to connect with people. usually I have like I was discussing with the HR when they hiring people in my like previous in the starting company that I started together. They were when they were hiring people, they looking for the people with the soft skills. They were just understand, oh, what's this background? Sometimes at the first things they were hired me, oh, there's also some my boss didn't know about the Middle East, and they say, oh, there's some Persian. Did you have any conflict with them? So, I believe there was also some people Jews on there's usually they were asking, well, what's your religion? What's your background? I was getting offensive when I started, but actually when I go through there's so many diverse background in that company, so they didn't want someone to be and have the issue in their cultures, like in their environment. So this is really important when you find a way, like when you try to communicate with other colleagues, when you start there and finding jobs, just by going to the event and like introduce yourself. Don't afraid like but like they say, oh, I know this experience, but don't exaggerate, but find it somehow in confidence. Not say like I don't know, I'm not sure if I know this. Whatever you put on your resume, you have to be confident about it when to talk to someone. This is really good in finding jobs. Try to be volunteers. Like after like 4 or 5 years, I understand there's so many just not engineering association. For instance, BCWA is called BC Wastewater Association, that they provide volunteering. You can be in their events and you can be a volunteers in their event for free. Sometimes you just pay $50 or $60 just to be in their events, and it's really good to finding people in that associations. There's so many associations out there. It's not just engineering association. I'm not just talking about this, but there's other communities, and that you can be in your finding jobs is really good. And don't afraid to be like, oh, I'm sending the messages to someone and didn't get it, or they didn't answer me. They may be busy with their life and they didn't say like they didn't want to, but sometimes it's like that. So just don't be afraid. If somebody didn't answer you, send it to other people, just whatever you do.
Yeah, I agree. That's all really great advice, you guys. I mean, you're echoing a lot of the things that I repeat to my clients. The volunteering is excellent. I didn't know about that one. And I would ask you to give me that organization's name, maybe pop it in the chat, because that's going to get you an opportunity to get in front of people who are working in the industry. In terms of LinkedIn, I think you made great points about, you know, making sure that your profile is up to date, because they are going to look at it. And connecting with the people that work at the organization that you want to work with. Even if you aren't applying for a job at that moment, if you can start connecting with people, oftentimes people accept LinkedIn requests. I'll accept almost any LinkedIn request as long as it's within the country, because if somebody is asking me from far away, it doesn't make sense, especially if they haven't sent me some kind of connection request or, you know, a message as to why they want to connect with me. There was one other thing, another point that you put there. I think it was you, Youssef, I think, with having that connection going into the interview, of already being connected with your interviewer. I think recruiters and HR, they look at LinkedIn all the time, and they are going to see whether or not you're following the company, whether or not you've connected with people there, and it really can help your application. That's great. So I could,
sorry, I have one last point in this. So when you are job hunting, especially in LinkedIn, you have to act very fast. You may have seen like the job might have been listed 8 days back, but mostly the companies or the recruitment person who is looking for might have already scheduled interviews, etc. So, and maybe they might have even awarded the job. So
totally
try to make sure that you act fast, you know, make your resume. If you find something interesting, then act the day itself. Otherwise, it may be.
Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And tailoring the application for sure, but setting notifications. So if you're on Indeed, if you're on LinkedIn, set those notifications so as soon as a job comes up, you're able to get it and you can apply quite quickly. I can see that the chat is popping off and we are pushing towards talking about the EGBC process. So I'm going to go with the way the audience wants to go, because I think we've got a lot of people who are in the midst of, you know, either going through the competencies. We've got questions about the NPPP or the NPPE exam, pardon me. So Yusuf, I'm going to separate you for right now because I do want to talk about your EIT process, because I know that I've got some EITs on the call as well, with some questions for you. But for Hasti and Nikhil, can you tell me, number one, how was your writing the NPPE exam? What advice do you have? Any study materials that you have? Anything like that that's going to facilitate the process?
Regarding PN process as well as the exams, I would say it is not as tough as what one would imagine. It's us to, you know, commit to this and be done with that. There is a website, it's NPP Practice. I can send the link to you, Miss. So in my case, I scheduled the exam. I think I started there are like 500 questions on that webpage for practice. I did that on a Saturday, and Sunday I read the ethics book as well as the other second recommended book. And Monday I wrote the exam. So that's what I did.
Okay.
So it's not something that needs to be like scared of or anything. It's very easy. NPP exam as well as even the competencies. When about the competencies, it's basically, you know, we would have to sit down and list your own experiences in the past. It's something that only you can do. Only the applicant will be able to say. It will take some time, but I would say that I had an Excel template going on. So against each like the competency asked, I would list down whatever comes to my mind initially, and then when I was about to submit, I had enough points, so I can like arrange it and properly coordinate everything and submit it.
Okay, great. And I've seen Nikhil's spreadsheet that he used to organize himself, and I think it's excellent. And I think I've actually seen something similar on the EGBC website, in terms of organizing yourself. So for those of you that are doing the competencies or thinking about starting them, I would definitely recommend getting yourself organized like that, using a spreadsheet, checking out the EGBC website to find out how they've organized themselves. And potentially, even if you have a template, Nikhil, I've been meaning to ask you for this. So if you're willing to share it, if you can clear your information off it, or even just share the template, I'd love that, because I'll share it with the group. Hasti, what about yourself?
So about your question about the NPP exam, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I just I don't want to hide it. I failed 2 times in the NPP exam. The reason is like I tried to find all the websites. The first thing I started with like how to study for in like 24 hours for NPP exam. The other one is just in 2 days or something like that. So I was just following, I tried to find the shortcuts to just study and just like, oh, this is, I want to do it like in just 1 week. And when I say like, say you have to finish it in 2 days, I was trying to do it like in a week. And after that, when I go to the examination and on the test, the subjects was it's something different. Like it wasn't clear. Like there's so many stuff in it. I didn't know anything about it. The reason is like NPP exams as an ethical professional practice exam as a subjects. It's being studied here in the universities actually. I didn't know about it. Like I would just try to study and find a shortcut to study in the NPP exam. I was keep failing until I just got that like as a book. There's 2 books to study, and I try to find a way. Like it just take me 2 months to read it all and understand the whole process, because NPP is just not something you memorize. It's just basically on the idea that give you the scenario of like, oh, there's engineers, they get in the gift after the projects and tendering is done. Will you accept the gift or no? I was thinking, oh, this is the job's done, and he can or she can get the gift from the clients. It actually there's no connections, but no, you have to understand that the whole ethical backgrounds of your as a professional. What is the issue and how to solve this kind of situation? Like sometimes it's maybe in your culture there's no ethical issue, but in here there may be issue. Like if you are just like, let's say they give you a scenario, oh, you become a friend with someone after the jobs and everything is done, you become a friend and you go out and he pay for the lunch. Okay, he is my friend. He can do that. And so maybe it's like there may be different cultures, they be translating it into their cultures, but you have to understand the whole background of the professionalism. This was a huge, and try to take your time into the professionalism and like when you get the EIT, you can work with this. Don't hurry and rush into the professional engineering, because getting a jobs as a EIT is easier, much easier than the getting as a professional engineers. Like this is what I understood. Okay, you have to be an engineer, a professional engineer, and find the jobs. Actually, it's kind of opposite, because like professional engineers is actually you as like supervising all the juniors, and also you have to be a part of the engineering, as well as like most of the engineering companies like PNs will be shareholders of that engineering firms. So they maybe like somehow know you. And like I have my friends, he just needed 3 months to be engineers, and it was hard to find the jobs that actually just for 3 months. And he just wanted to finish up his academy, Canadian experience, and be as engineers, as a professional engineers. So don't rush into these things. Try to be as EIT, learn the process, and don't take rush into national professional exam. Take your minds into it and understand the whole process and just do it. Don't be like me. I just want to get the PhD, and this is because like I had a lot of experience. I have to go back to the same step or like same position that I have in my back country, and back to rush to in the same positions. Don't be like that, and you can easily get the jobs with the EIT and start with that.
Okay, so you bring up quite a few good points. So I'm just going to kind of tackle a couple of them as we go through. So number one, the NPP exam, I think it's interesting to hear two different perspectives.
Yeah.
I've had some clients take it too. One thing I would say, language can be a challenge with the exam, because if you're not fully fluent in English, there are going to be some nuances of the language that can be challenging for you as an ESL speaker. And so that's where potentially you'll run into issues in terms of understanding the exam.
So
go for
sorry
it,
to
Miguel.
interrupt you. So in my case, I found it easy, maybe because, as you said, I found English language little bit more easy to understand. I have an IEL score of 8.5, so maybe that might have helped. But again, it depends on confidence. So the exam is like this. If you read the book, it tells you the basics. But in the exam, as Hasti mentioned, the question is slightly twisted. Like it always gives you a real life scenario, whether you're accepting the gift or not. And then there are like 4 options for that. So the website I mentioned, they gave us kind of 50 questions so that you can practice. And once you click something, if it's a wrong answer, they give the explanation why it is wrong. So,
okay, great.
Yeah, so
And
that's
I
why.
do know. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mikhail.
I mean, so coupled with like I was able to read that book very fast and understand, and then coupled with my practice, I was able to crack it in a short possible time.
Okay, great. And the reading material I think you guys are talking about are the recommended books that are on the EGBC website for studying for the NPP exam, correct?
Yes, exactly. But as Hasti mentioned, those are not like a small books or something. The law book is like 600 pages and the other one is like close to 300 pages. So
I was wondering when
in-
you said you read it on a Sunday,
oh,
I
I
thought,
read it.
are you
I
a
read
speed
it.
reader? Wow, crazy. Okay.
So,
Yeah, if you are just, I want to add, like if you are just not reader persons, I am not. Like I hate
oh,
reading. This is my issue. Like sometimes when I go to the test, oh, there's like 10 line of the scenario, and in the half of it, I just like my focus is going on like somewhere else. Okay, what's happening? I have to read the same scenario and just to understand it. If you are not in like in my situation, I was kind of just with the numbers. I am just more technical, not reading nothing, and I hate reading. And I came in situation. I have the same situation in PhD. I don't know how to read, and yeah, try to be somehow patient in reading, understand the process. Like for Hill, as he's reading quite often, he maybe didn't have the same issue that I have. But yeah, for those who's like me, who hate reading, just try to be patient, try to understand the whole subjects and read the book. And I was just highlighting the book, understand all scenarios. Sometimes when I find the word and like it's not about like knowing English. Like for myself, like I get like easily IELTS. I didn't got in. I believe I did it a long time ago as 7.5 or something. But the problem is not English itself. It just somehow have a technical word that you cannot find in somewhere else. It's
It's
mostly
legal
about
language.
engineering,
Yeah.
professionalism, and some of them is just about the laws itself. Like
Yeah.
I didn't understand what's a kind of there's too many laws, like what's international with the Canadians. If you kind of know this, you may not have this issue. But if you didn't know all about the laws and the ethicals backgrounds as a what's like how to name the word for it. If you don't know this kind of stuff, just try to be patient in this process. This is what it's like saying.
For sure. And even as a native speaker, I mean, some of that language
Yeah.
not only high level, but it's legal language, so it can be difficult even for someone like
that's
myself
right.
to discern. Okay, so I'm gonna just go into the chat now. So I've got your questions here. So we want to know about, okay, the procedure for anybody who's not listed in the Washington Accord. So for EGBC, essentially, if your school is not listed on the Washington Accord, you need to register. You're going to have to get your degrees checked by either oh gosh, I'm blanking on it, ICES from BCIT or WES, and get them certified. You send them over to EGBC, or WES will send them over to EGBC, and then they're going to decide whether or not you fit an EIT profile or a PNG profile. If you fit an EIT profile, you're either going to have to take some examinations. Yusuf, I want you to speak a little bit about what your EIT process was like. If they decide that you're at a PNG level, then you're going to have to do this process of taking the seminar, taking the NPPE exam, and then writing the competencies. And I believe there's 36 competencies that you have to get through. And it's my experience that it takes, I would say, a minimum of 6 months to a year to be able to complete that process. What do you think, gentlemen who have their PNGs? If you had to rush it, could you get it done in 6 months?
So in my case, the whole process took almost 1.5 years.
Okay, thank
you. The first 6 months I had to spend in arranging my academic certificates, etc., because most of the universities were closed down at that period of time. But the main thing I felt was I myself was kind of delaying it. Like I could have completed a little sooner had I spent some time on, timely completing my competency assessment, because there is no such like resources for your competency part. It's upon you to, read the competencies, write whatever are your experiences against each competency, and put everything together in a nice format for the reviewer. So yeah, And then the second thing was that I was again afraid of the NPP exam, so I never kind of scheduled it. So at the point when I was planning to submit it in June, and then when I checked the availability, the exam was only in November. So
Okay.
there I lost 3 months, though I completed my competency assessment in
Okay.
June itself. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And Hasti, how about you? How long did it take you to get your PN, like the whole competency seminar exam process?
So for competency, it didn't take me too much, but I think because like association is depends on the volunteering. Like these interviewers, they were as a volunteers, so they did like it depends on them. Like if they found a volunteers to interview you, like if you have applying for the PNG itself, usually there's two processes you want to like, I don't know if all of them are known for that, aware of that. So there's EIT, or you can just apply for PNG directly. So some of them you just go through the EIT and then getting the experience and then applying for the PNG. The second one is just applying directly to PNG as an international, like when someone have the experience. At my times, when I came from 2017. It was required to have 1 year's experience as a Canadian experience, and believe it, for 5 years of experience in international, more than 5 years experience. If you have this experience, you don't go through the examinations, you just go through the interview. So I had the experience, and I had 1 year's experience in as a Canadian, but the problem is when I try to do the competency, the PMs that my supervisors, they say, oh, I have 1 year supervising you as a civil 3D designers. You are not just an engineer yet, so I cannot like be a reference to you. So you have to use like more international way. So that has my issue. And when I try to when I go through after 6 months, when I go through the interviews, they found me, and they say, because you didn't have the Canadian experience, and one of the things you said, they didn't let you to be practicing the engineers as a civil 3D designers, so we may extend it again, like we have to do it again. And after 3 months, I just redo it. Like I try to like communicate with them. I already have the experience. The things that I said in the interview, it was like something you guys translated in somehow that I don't have the Canadian experience. So this is it took me three months after that to just reapply and again. And after that, when you do like after interview, you will get EIT right away as a certificate. And then when I tried to be EIT, it was hard to get letters from my supervisors to be applied for the PNG. And they say, don't rush, and you have to be at EIT, you have to be like, we have to supervise you, and then go to the applied for the PNG. I was not listening to them, so I was doing it rush. And yes, so competency is I believe it's 36 parts. You have to be aware of all of it. You have to be confident when you try to interview you. For those who doesn't have this experience, I believe they go through the examinations and pass the examination and then get in their EIT. So there's so many ways to that.
For you, Hasti, though, like the whole period from, you know, signing up with EGBC to getting your PNG, how long did it take you?
So basically, I believe failing every examination is NPP exam. It takes like, I believe you have to wait for more than 3 months, something like that. It took me, and after my second one was failed, I was like post and breaked from that engineering. I don't want to do it again. I'm just keep failing. I just waited for 1 year, I believe. It took me more than 3 years to do the whole process.
Okay.
But it's just my situation. It was like that, and I didn't know, and I didn't get any help from people. I just doing try and error. This is the situation I've been into. But
Okay, great.
basically, when you apply, it doesn't like if you have the experience, they just interview you, and now they don't need Canadian experience, I believe. What I heard about it, you just get your 5 years experience as an international. You just directly apply for the BNG. And then you can just do the NPP exam. Before that, you can do the NPP exam, and when you are just a member, you don't have to wait until they approve you.
Yeah.
So this
No,
is they step up all the process. You can just do
Absolutely.
that and not to be in the process. You can fast forward the whole process, doing the NPP exam at first, and then be in the interview, and that's it. Like I believe the other one is just the online seminar is nothing important. Yeah.
Okay. And Yusuf, I want to hear about the EIT process for you. Can you talk a little bit about, like, did you have to take exams? Tell us about how you got your EIT.
Honestly, when I arrived here, when I started working with the ISSofBC, they recommended to me directly to apply for the EIT because they knew that it takes like more than the period that they talk about. It takes like a few months to get the EIT, and it's important. And I applied immediately, and it took me like 6 months. But I want to be specific for my case because I studied in France. There is an agreement between France and Canada,
Okay.
so I was exempted from any examination. But from my experience, people I know, they ask them to go through some kind of examination. I don't know what exactly, but in my case, I was exempted.
Okay, that's great to know. So, Yusuf, I am going to pick your brain after this meeting because I would love to be connected with the people who have had to take the exams because I do have. Oh, I'm here. Now.
May I?
Who is that? Yes, is that Deep?
This is Deep here. Actually, I don't want to break the entire meeting and conversation, but I actually want to share this experience. And I came before Nikhil and here, and I want to share my experience so it can be helpful for everyone. I'm here in 2018 December, and I'm an electronics and communication engineer back in India. I came here, I completed my MBA. I was literally running behind EGBC and things, but they have the Washington Tier 1 list. I get down, I nickeled up everything. And they suggested me 3 examinations,
Okay.
which I need to give it. And I completed my BE from India. And that is not in the list of Washington Accord 1, Tier 1 list. So I need to write 3 examinations, which you have only 3 attempts.
Okay.
If you failed one time, you have to give that exam anyhow. There is no waiver coming for you after that for lifetime.
Okay. So it's important to pass the exam. Did you pass the exam, Deep?
I was having 3 exams, but at the same time, I'm here with my wife now. So I need to have full-time job too at the same time. So how I can able to give the exam or whatever the exams which I completed 10 years ago. I'm talking about 2014. And the questions, papers, there is no solution out there.
Okay.
I already evaluated. I have my file going on with Nasrin Kalo, ISSBC. And everything came. So I put a full stop right now. And that's the reason I'm looking for any EIT in electrical who can allow me to work under his for 1 year so that I can get my EIT because I have 4.6 year experience. I work in Canada for telecom companies and I am a radio frequency engineer.
Okay, Deep, and I'm sorry that that's happening. It's a really frustrating situation, but unfortunately, we're not going to be able to solve that issue here this evening. But we can take this offline, absolutely, so that we can try to help you find the information that you're looking for.
Yeah, just to help you, nothing else. Sorry, please go ahead.
No, that's okay. I appreciate you putting your hand up there because I am looking for people who have written the exams before. So again, I might use you for a source of information for that. So now, Yusuf, like I was saying before, sorry, that I'd love to get in contact with the people who have written the exams to just get a little bit more information regarding, you know, what it is like to take the exams, because I'm always trying to collect information. Now, just going back to the questions in the chat, let's just see here. So Mo, I see that you were asking how long did it take to approve, and Nikhil, you answered that. It took almost 7 to 8 months for you to write the competencies, but it took about 3 months for them to get back to you. Is that correct?
Yes. So as I said, like initially when I came, I had only like mostly Indian experience. So while I was working my first initial night shift job, I was acquiring Canadian experience. And then there was the next job where I was under the direct supervision of Canadian PN supervisors. So I waited so that I can add some points from the Canadian experience side as well to submit my profile.
Okay, and so there's lots of questions I find that come up about the Canadian experience. Now, you obviously, Nikhil, you were working, so you got the Canadian experience that way. Hasti, I think you got the Canadian experience that way. For those of you on the call, though, I have heard from ISSofBC that if you can show that the work experience that you have from your country is similar to that of Canada, or if you can demonstrate the difference and then show how you are acknowledging that knowledge gap, they will accept that as an answer for the competency exams for the Canadian experience section. So that is something important to note. But it is always, I think, better to try to get that Canadian experience, which obviously that can be a challenge. One of the circles, the kind of vicious circles I find with my clients is that they can't get hired because they don't have a designation. And then they can't get the designation because they can't get hired. So this is kind of something that goes around. Now, Yusuf, when you got your EIT, were you working as an electrical engineer, or is it just purely because you were on the Washington Accord that your application was accepted?
Yeah, the agreement is called the French Commission of Engineering Title. And
Okay.
it's the two agreements. There's the Washington Accord and this one too.
Okay.
And I got this EIT 6 months before I found my job. I would say that maybe this EIT helped me to get
Okay.
the job, but it's not. But I don't think it's the reason why they hired me, because I see with me like a lot of people, they are hired without this EIT. I mean, you can, for
Interesting.
example, if you're in the process of applying for the EIT and it takes time, you can just mention into your resume that you are in the process of getting like the EIT. It's better that because for the company, it's a way for there to understand that you want to be registered in the future. That's what I can say.
Okay. So we're coming into kind of the last 10 minutes. So the chat, I want to give you guys one last opportunity to ask some final questions in here, or I'm going to just ask a final question myself to kind of wrap this evening up. Are there any other questions that you guys want to know in the chat? It is now your time to speak. Oh, we got somebody here. Let me just see here. Will you be able to access the recording tonight? Yes, you will. But okay, you will. I will send this recording out to everybody who is on the call, and then also to the people who weren't able to make it this evening. Any other questions specifically towards our guest speakers this evening? All right, then I am going to pick the last question. So let me just see here. If I want to say, if there was one
Can I ask
key,
something?
of course.
Yeah.
Is that Yasmin?
Yes.
Yeah, was that you that asked if you want to ask something?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
go for it.
so it was for Yusuf, like a question for Yusuf, because I'm not in the same situation, but I have a degree from Tunisia, but the degree has like holds accreditation from Commission des titres d'ingénieur. It's a French, the French one that he's talking about. And like, do you know if my my degree is from Tunisia, not from France, but still has this accreditation, do I still have to have the examination, or I'll be exempted? Do you have any
Yeah, I think the way you can know is to go to this Commission of French title of engineer, and you're
Yeah.
gonna find if your degree is listed there, and you can go to ISSofBC and Engineers Canada, and you're gonna find the same information. It's the way I did to find that my university was listed in both of them. And if it's listed, it's gonna give you this advantage to be exempted from the examination.
Or have to send them an email showing them, or they will
Not to ISSofBC, check first in the Commission of Engineering title, the French one.
Yeah.
And you can go to Engineers Canada, I think, not ISSofBC, Engineers Canada. You can email them. ISSofBC, most of the time, they are not really aware of this part of the agreement, but you can contact Engineers Canada, I think.
Got you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Okay, perfect. And actually, there's one more question I saw from Christine. She wants us to ask. So with the current job market this year, the layoffs for professionals, do you think that there's much promise in entering any of your three fields, mechanical, civil, electrical engineering? What have you heard working in the industry?
I can reply. I would say that it depends on which sector, which field are we talking about. Yeah, I can, for example, for my case, I'm working in renewable energy in the hydrogen industry, and it's extremely good right now. They have a lot of jobs, and what's surprising is that they need a lot of engineers, but the problem is this. I don't know, something blocking the recruiter to hire newcomers because of these Canadian experts. So I don't know what exactly. It's the reason why before I mentioned that it's important to work on your soft skills and to show that you have the attitude to fit in this position, in this company, and you're not going to create troubles to them after.
Okay, great. Anybody else want to add in?
Yeah, it's the same case in mechanical engineering roles also. The energy sector is still hiring. There are jobs out in the open. They're probably looking for people with more experience, maybe because the roles are like, maybe like a middle level or something. So it's in interviews, basically you will be asked about the projects which you have handled and the amount of business it has generated, etc. So yeah, I think that the hiring process is still ongoing.
Okay, great. Hasti, what about you? I know you're in a bit of a different situation because you're in a different province.
Yeah, I think there's no issue in the hiring like engineers. As I mentioned, all of it is required with the connections and try to have your soft skills. This is important that knowing, oh, I know the skills, and don't afraid of like, the skills. Like, let me tell you the story. I always ask my boss, why don't you hire, like I'm now studying for PhD, but like, why don't you hire the PhD? They have more experience, they more have knowledge than the just engineering graduate, just graduated. I say, no, the PhD just want to work by themselves. They don't want to work as a team. They know themselves as superior. So I don't like these kind of people. So it's just like someone who grow with us and be in our community. So it's not about having a knowledge and experience in that field. It's about how to be somehow connected with the other colleagues and to be in the way. Yeah, so try to find your soft skills, try to be connect with other people and find a way. Don't be shy in just applying or talk to other people. Whatever you do, start to get like a good networking and be in the event, or like somehow this is really help you in finding a jobs. Not just apply behind the computers and apply to your jobs with a good resume or something. It's about your connections and your networking. Yeah.
I think that's such a great point, Hasti. Get out from behind your computer. We live in front of our computers all the time, and I hear so many job seekers saying, oh, I've applied to 500 jobs, but they've been doing it from the couch and just hitting easy apply. If you're an engineer, you need to learn what a Canadian style engineer resume looks like. And a lot of that comes with describing what your projects are, letting Canadian employers know who you worked for in your home country, because we are lazy. We are not going to do any of that research. So by providing employers that information, it's going to improve your application. But there's a lot of work that has to be done on the job seeker side in order to be successful. It is not just sending a resume into 100 different job postings and having the same application. We got a couple of hands up here still. So I've got, let's see here. Yeah, I think Amandeep, you keep asking about what a CBA is, and I see you've got your hand up. Do you want to turn your mic on and to give us a little bit of an explanation? We've only got a few minutes left and there's one more question. So if you want to speak, speak now.
Yeah, I have one question. I don't have any issue about the CPA. I know about CPA. I just want to know that I have done with my CPA report. It's competency-based assessment, which we need to submit to get our page. I have 7 years of experience from back to come from my country.
Okay.
And I've done with my credentials and everything. But
Okay.
they told me to send official documents direct to EGBC. They don't accept VES and any credentials from a third party. They directly told, I have replied. They replied on my mail. I have an official reply from EGBC.
It's my understanding that WES will or that EGBC will accept WES. They'll also accept ICE.
They are not accepting.
No.
But are you sending it to them, or is WES sending it to them?
I send official document directly to EGBC.
So
they
you
told
need to
me
get
to do that. They told EGBC told me to do that. They don't accept.
I'm going to cut you off. I'm sorry. You need to get WES to send it directly to EGBC. You cannot send it yourself or they won't accept it. It's like a transcript from a university.
Oh, I have to interrupt this. To be accurate, you have 2 ways to do that. So the first option that EGBC prefers is to send your documents to be sent directly from your institution. It means
I did that.
So it could be either by mail or by email. And the other option would be to have the document sent by WES, but in this case, it should be stated that the documents were directly sent from your institution to WES directly, and it has to be there on the report. Otherwise, they wouldn't accept that.
I have one more point to add to this. I was in the same boat. Like I had my educational documents sent from my universities back in India directly to EGBC, and it was evaluated. At that time, there was an option like if you want, you can notarize your educational documents and then it can be submitted. I don't know whether that option is still available because it was a time when, because of COVID, many of the universities were, not operating. So at that point, that option was also available. I'm not confident whether it's still available now.
I think I want to add as well. One of my friends who is a refugee here, and he have a situation that he couldn't go back to his country and he didn't go to contact his association. I believe the association they don't have the mailing system that's gone directly to theirs, but he had his own certificate and transcript with himself. And he got the letters to the association explaining why he cannot get it directly from the institutions. And there's other ways to do that. They've been accepted. So I believe it's depends on every association. They have their own process. Like for instance, Calgary or like Alberta, they can take from the West directly. Like EGBC, they have their own assessments. So every association is different. So it depends on their association itself.
Okay,
I think in WES, it's not a general assessment. It should be a detailed assessment, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay, we're getting lots of action in the chat about this. Christine, we've just got 1 minute left here. Christine, do you want to ask the last question of the evening?
Yeah, thank you. So for me, I'm a recent graduate from my country, less than 2 years. So that's why I'm just trying to get my EIT just to show my competency. But now when applying for jobs, almost every job, it's always, 1 to 2 years experience, and it's kind of making me lose hope on engineering right now, because like when I compare myself with other people, either they're struggling to get their credentials verified, but they have the experience. However, now I'm on a negative scale on both sides, which is making me consider whether now I should just do a master's, maybe to make myself seem a bit stronger on my profile. So I wanted to know about your advice, because most of the people here seem very experienced in their profession. However, I'm kind of a newbie and just getting into it, and everything in terms of qualifications is always 1 to 2 years experience. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'm gonna reply to Christine to this question. I mean, if you see a job and you think that you have the qualification for it, you simply have to apply for this job, whatever they put, if it's 1 year, 2 years, or even 10 years. If you think you can do it, just apply for this position. Don't limit yourself. If there is like enough barriers and you are adding like more barriers, saying, no, I don't need to apply for it. You need to apply for the maximum possible jobs, but you have to manage your efforts in the same time.
Great. Anybody else want to add in?
I think
have some things like my question is to Hesti.
Oh,
yeah.
just one. Oh,
Speaking here.
okay. Go for it, Mo.
Yeah. Actually, I want to ask, like, as a civil engineer, you also need to learn like programming as well, like along with like some other civil engineering software.
Sorry, I didn't get the question right.
Like,
So
because like some civil engineer told me like they also have to learn programming along with like, you know, some civil engineering software to like do civil engineering jobs. So that is why I want to know, like do you also need to learn like programming?
you mean software or programming, like coding?
Yeah,
you mean?
software, like says around with some civil engineering software, and then some programming software, like programming like as well, like
No.
in the water resource like field.
So it depends on the position itself. Like some position is just a design, working in like in office is you should know some, like there's, if you look through the requirement, this requires like PCWM, or like there's some for water resources, there's some softwares that you should know, and some others like a civil design, civil 3D or like Autodesk softwares. It depends on that. Some of them just require outside. You don't need to know all the softwares, but knowing them is really it maybe give you a chance to get hired easily. Basically, this is what I understood here. Even in here, like I have some colleagues, they didn't even know Autodesk AutoCAD, which is like in my country as an engineer, if you don't know AutoCAD, it's like a really shame on you if you are not knowing anything about it. But in here, it's different, totally different. Like it depends on like how to do reporting, how to do tendering, and the management. It's totally different engineering ways. Like as I say, soft skills, how to communicate with a client, this kind of situations. So knowing the software is easy, like is good, because I get hired with knowing the softwares, and I didn't have like EIT or something else. I just hired with that. It test me, and they knew the software because it was a design position. But maybe someone else is like as a management, you should have like some management background of it. So it doesn't like break anything. Like if you know it, is good to know, and it depends on that.
Okay.
I have a question, like is this like a design engineer or positions, or is it's like a drafter position? So like
So yeah,
is it
you can start with a
easy
draft. Yeah, sorry.
is it
Go ahead.
easy to get the designer positions, or like is this like a drafter position that you've been hired earlier in your
As I
career?
said, like whatever the junior's position is, it's like the hiring is must like is more than the like other what's called senior positions. Like the designer is more
Senior.
there's so many jobs with the drafter and designer, and then into the technologists, into the EIT and into the PNG. So the situation is like if you hire with a good one, like the junior one, is probably the chances is higher than the like giving as a EIT. But you can apply for both. Like usually, like I was without work at the sometimes I applied for both of them. It doesn't matter what it is. Like some of them is more, you may be overqualified, some of them is not. So this is the situations. But it doesn't matter. So it depends on you. If you wanted to be as a junior, like it's easily you can get higher than being a senior.
And then like if you like suppose like it's once it's doing like as a drafter job and a drafter position, then it's like I don't think it's will be like somebody's like qualified to apply for the PNs, right? Later.
No. Like let me like the things that I mentioned earlier. Like I applied a lot of jobs and I hired with a civil street designer, and I told to like there was what's called one of the senior designer just interview me. Okay, you kind of overqualified. I told him that this is my first jobs roles. I have to start from somewhere in order to get the Canadian experience. At that time, there was a Canadian experience in order to apply for the ISSofBC. And I told them I am overqualified, but I want to start with something. I want to change my positioning through the times. And you can explain to them like this is your situation is you want to start from any engineering in order to go back to your field. It's better that not apply for anything, not to be hired with anything else.
Mo, I can add one more point to this. Even though you are starting as a junior role, every chance is that if you are contributing to the team, mostly within a year or two, you may be like promoted to the role which you deserve. So those things happen very fast in Canadian companies. So doesn't need to worry about that. As Hasti mentioned, it's always the foot in the door first, right? So take it in that spirit. And do mention to the prospective employer that you are in the process of getting your PNs. So they will also support you. And if they see that you're contributing and your hard work will definitely pay, and most probably you will be like promoted to the role which you deserve in a very short time.
That's
Yeah.
great.
So
Thank you
much,
so
yeah.
much. Perfect. Now, I just want to be conscientious of time because we're almost 10 minutes over. I see one more hand up. Gentlemen, would you be willing to take one more question and then we'll call it an evening?
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
free.
Okay, I know. I just Hasti, it's almost 10:45 for him. So we just
Oh,
want
yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
No worries. Like it's maybe like after that you can find my name in LinkedIn, wherever you
LinkedIn.
have a question. Yeah, you can just send me over what you have. Like I'm happy to answer, like reply.
All right, well, let's go. So Hadia, why don't you take the last question for the evening and then we'll wrap things up.
My name is Hadia. I'm a civil engineering in water resources and environmental fields, Hasti. So I do have a question for Hasti because he also said that for designer, you have to know AutoCAD and Autodesk, and that's why I want to take some courses in this field. So I used to learn AutoCAD back to university. So I would like to upgrade my knowledge. So I want to know if I do need to take AutoCAD or Autodesk courses here to become a EIT engineer. Yes.
I think like AutoCAD or like any Civil 3D or whatever software out there is there's nothing related to your competency. Just for your knowledge, sometimes you just needed some idea, just how the software, how the design is may work. Even though you know the software, you're just not applying the software. You just have to know if the actual your design is makes sense as a professional engineering background. And you just don't go to the courses for the AutoCAD. I believe you can easily self-taught through the YouTube or whatever out there. Knowing this, like for myself, the test that they did, it was a Civil 3D, and when I came here, I had like a shitty laptop. It doesn't work Civil 3D on it. And just I just watched YouTube how the design work usually for the softwares, and I only had this at that time. And just I go through the and I told them that even though that you guys test me, I did using this software a long time ago. I may not aware of the like a new update, what's out there. They say, okay, just go through the process. If you just complete what it's out there, your approach to the design, we just can hire you. So and designers, like as a drafters, it's a juniors, they don't expect you to know everything, and you just like you supervised by the engineers, and you probably don't know what's engineering idea or design about it, like any standards view about it. You just like supervised by engineers. So having if you are looking for the design roles, it's better to know as any softwares. If not, just look through any position, what they require, and go through them. If you have a knowledge to learn easily, if not, try to something else. And every person is different. Like some people are just good with the communication, with the management. Some people are just like design to be at the office. Like it depends. It depends on you, actually.
Yeah, thank you so much. I will reach you out on LinkedIn so we can go
Perfect.
through. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. And I've heard it from you all. I think everybody on the call, you're more than welcome to reach out to these guys on LinkedIn. And to either further discussions or, hey, start building your professional network. You got 3 engineers on the call right now, so that's just going to add to the people that you know now in Vancouver, or if anybody moves to Kitchener, you'll be able to connect with Hasti. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. I know that you've all worked today. Hasti, I know that it's late for you. I really appreciate your willingness. You all answered me so quickly when I put this invitation out there, so I really appreciate it. And I look forward to being able to have more conversations like this to get you helping more newcomers on their path to becoming engineers.
Yeah, thank you, Liz, for the amazing work you do. And you can search my name in LinkedIn and you can connect with me. I will be able to answer any questions that you have regarding the PNG process.
Amazing.
Yeah, I just want to add something. When you send me anything on LinkedIn, I may be busy. You know, I have a lot of examination and stuff, and I may see your messages. Just send it again. I may answer that or reply to you anytime I get like free time. Another thing, just don't stick to like ISSofBC. Maybe there's other associations out there, apply them, whatever is easier for you. You can easily, when you get your PNs, you can transfer to other provinces. As a EIT, doesn't matter what province you are, it is just the EIT. The company, they don't need you unless you are PNs, you get your certification, you get your stamps and name, like whatever it is. But as a EIT, it doesn't matter where you are. Like if you are from the Ontario, you can work in BC. It's the same thing. It just gives you the idea that this person have the engineering mindsets, background, professionalism, and this is what it is. And I'm happy to help anyone. I go through the hard process, and this is my name on LinkedIn, wherever you can find. Happy to connect and happy to give you advice and any times. Yeah, and thanks for this opportunity, and thank you, Liz, for that, and I'm happy always to help you
Perfect.
guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Liz, for organizing this discussion. It was great. Like it gives an opportunity for those newcomers to understand that it's possible and how we did to help them like to do the same thing. I would say that the most difficult thing is not to become a PNG, because once you start working as an engineer, everything is smooth after, you know. It may take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. It's not difficult, but like for now, you see a lot of applicants applying for the same job. But once you're gonna be there, I can relate to my case. They're gonna contact you each week, and you're gonna understand that there is a lot of jobs and they're hiring a lot. And for example, for electrical engineers, this is what's surprising. I just read last week there is a shortage in BC of electrical engineers. So why they don't hire? This is I cannot answer that. And I invite anyone here to contact me through LinkedIn if you have questions, anything. If you're applying to my company, it's called Greenlight Innovation. Just let me know. I can help you for the process. Anything you want, or I can help you. I would be happy to see you succeeding here in BC.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Youssef. You know, since our first conversation, when you became a mentor with CareerPath, I've been waiting to use you, because I know that you wanted to volunteer, and I know you had some good insights to share. So I'm really happy that all three of you are here this evening. Hasti, like I said at the beginning, it's great to finally put a face to your voice. And Nikhil, this is, I think, the 4th time now that I have asked you to help me. And so I really appreciate you guys putting your hands up. And for all of you on the call, thank you so much for coming tonight. I hope you got some questions answered. Deep, if you want to send me an email, and you can CC Nesreen on there, we can see what we can do to help you. And then for those of you that I will see in upcoming meetings, I look forward to seeing you. And for the rest of you, good luck on your job search. Have a great evening, everybody. Mo, I'll stay on the call to speak with you, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you,
Good
guys.
luck with your PN
Thank you, everyone.
and
Thank
your
you so
career
much.